The courtroom is silent, too silent. Sunlight slices through dusty blinds, catching motes of tension hanging in the air like shrapnel. At the defense table, a boy barely 14 slouches in his designer hoodie, smirking like he's on a live stream, not in a court of law. When Judge Caprio gently asks him to stand, the kid doesn't move. Instead, he mutters loud enough for everyone to hear, "Whatever, old man." A collective gasp ripples through the gallery. An elderly woman clutches her rosary. The bailiff stiffens. But Judge Caprio doesn't flinch. He leans forward, eyes steady, voice calm as stone. "Say that again," he says, and in that moment the entire room knows this isn't just disrespect, it's a declaration. From Providence to Phoenix, from immigrant kitchens to college dorms, millions watching online are asking, where are you watching from? And which side of this moment are you on? Because what happens next won't just silence a boy. It will echo across a nation that's forgotten what respect really costs. This isn't just about a rude teenager in a Rhode Island courtroom. This is about a country unraveling at the seams, where elders are mocked as relics, authority is dismissed as oppression, and consequences are branded unfair by those who've never faced real hardship. Judge Frank Caprio, now 87, has spent 4 decades not as a punisher, but as a healer of broken systems and bruised souls. He's waived fines for single mothers working double shifts. He's hugged veterans trembling with PTSD. He's even paid parking tickets out of his own pocket so a family could eat that week. But one line he will not let cross: disrespect cloaked as rebellion. The boy's offense? Driving his father's luxury car without a license, a minor infraction. But his attitude? That was a symptom of something far more dangerous. A generation taught that rules bend to their mood, that accountability is optional, and that dignity is weakness. And in that courtroom, Judge Caprio saw more than a smirking teen. He saw the mirror of a culture losing its moral anchor. What happens next won't just be justice, it'll be a reckoning. Meet Tyler, a name changed to protect a child, but not his choices. 14 years old, raised in a gated suburb where consequences were outsourced and apologies were seen as surrender. His parents, affluent and absent, filled emotional voids with iPhones and private tutors while scrolling through curated feeds that told them they'd nailed parenting. At school, Tyler called teachers losers and bragged online about skipping class. On TikTok, he lip-synced to rants about boomer cops and fake authority. To him, the law wasn't a shield, it was an inconvenience. When police pulled him over for speeding in his dad's Tesla, he laughed. "My dad's a lawyer. You can't do anything." He walked into court expecting leniency, maybe even a viral clip. Instead, he stepped into a room governed by a man who measures character not by zip code or follower count, but by how you treat someone who holds your fate in their hands. Tyler's arrogance wasn't confidence. It was fear dressed in bravado. And Judge Caprio had seen this costume before, many times. But today, the mask would come off. Judge Frank Caprio didn't inherit power. He earned it with blistered hands and immigrant grit. Son of Italian shoemakers who arrived with 2 suitcases and a vow to never take America for granted, he grew up in a tenement where hot water was a luxury and respect was non-negotiable. His father sold fruit from a pushcart in snowstorms. His mother cleaned offices at night, her fingers raw but her spirit unbroken. They taught him one truth above all. Respect isn't optional, it's the price of entry into civilized life. He worked factory nights to put himself through law school, not for prestige, but to defend those the system forgot. As a public defender, he saw poverty not as failure, but as circumstance. As a judge, he became known as the people's judge, not because he was soft, but because he was fair. He's cried with homeless men ashamed of unpaid fines. He celebrated teens who turned their lives around, but when faced with smug entitlement, he dismantles it with surgical grace. At 87, he could retire. But he stays because he believes America's soul is tested not in grand speeches, but in small moments, like a boy's smirk in a courtroom. He's not here to punish Tyler. He's here to wake him up. And maybe, just maybe, wake up a nation watching at home. Back in court, Tyler slouches deeper, arms crossed like armor. When the officer recounts the traffic stop, the boy rolls his eyes. "It was just a joyride," he snaps. "You guys make everything a big deal." Murmurs ripple through the gallery. A grandmother shakes her head. A teenager in the back mimics Tyler's posture, until Judge Caprio's gaze locks onto him like a lighthouse beam cutting through fog. Silence crashes down. Leaning forward, Caprio's voice is low but razor-sharp. "Young man, do you understand you are operating a 2-ton machine without training, without a license, without regard for human life?" Tyler scoffs. "It's just a car. Chill out." The words hang like smoke. Caprio doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. He simply repeats, softer this time, "Chill out?" Then, with heartbreaking clarity, "Is that how you speak to someone sworn to protect you?" Tyler opens his mouth, then stops. Something in the judge's eyes, ancient and unwavering, steals his breath. In that pause, the entire courtroom holds still. Because everyone knows, the judge is about to deliver more than a sentence. He's about to deliver truth. Caprio rises slowly, not with anger but with gravity. He steps to the edge of the bench, his presence filling the room like a storm gathering calm. "You think respect is something you give only when you feel like it?" he begins. "Let me tell you what respect really is. It's the foundation of every law, every school, every family that's ever survived in this country." He speaks of a World War II veteran who saluted a traffic cop just for stopping to help a flat tire. Of a single mother who apologized for her son's graffiti, even though she couldn't afford the fine. They understood something you've forgotten. Dignity isn't demanded. It's earned by how you carry yourself. Then, the quiet thunder. "You called me old man. Fine, I am old. But I'm old enough to remember when a boy your age would have been ashamed to speak that way in front of his mother." Tyler's smirk vanishes. His eyes drop. Caprio presses gently. "You say big deal about driving illegally. But what if you'd hit someone? Would that be a big deal to their child?" The room is tomb silent. Even the clock seems to pause. Then Caprio delivers his sentence, not with a fine, but with a challenge. "You will write a 500-word essay on what respect means. Not to me, but to the society you're lucky enough to live in. And you'll read it aloud right here, next week." Gasps, then applause. Soft, then roaring. Tyler doesn't argue. He just nods, tears welling. For the first time, he's not performing, he's present. Within hours, the clip detonates online. Had respect Caprio trends globally. TikTok floods with teens reenacting the moment. Only this time, bowing, apologizing, helping strangers. Celebrities amplify it. Dwayne Johnson posts, "This is the father figure America needs." Michelle Obama shares, "Judge Caprio didn't just correct a boy, he reminded us what leadership looks like." Teachers report students voluntarily cleaning graffiti, returning lost wallets saying sir and ma'am without prompting. Then comes Tyler's essay, leaked by a classmate, shared millions of times. "I thought respect was weakness," he writes. "Now I see its strength. I'm sorry, Your Honor." Even his former online crew deletes their anti-authority rants. Critics call it performative justice, but polls show 89% of Americans side with Caprio. Most powerful of all, a video surfaces weeks later, Tyler alone helping an elderly woman carry groceries to her door. No cameras, no audience. Just a boy choosing decency. One courtroom, one judge, one moment, and a nation remembering its heartbeat. This was never about punishment, it was about restoration. In an age of outrage and performance, Judge Caprio chose something radical, truth wrapped in tenderness. He didn't humiliate Tyler, he humanized him. And in doing so, he reminded us all that respect isn't outdated protocol. It's the oxygen of a functioning society. The real victory isn't the essay or the apology. It's the moment Tyler looked up and saw not an enemy, but a mirror. That's the American promise. Not perfection, but the courage to be corrected. Not entitlement, but gratitude for the fragile order that lets us dream safely. At 87, Judge Caprio didn't just preside over a case. He reignited a covenant between generations. And in that quiet courtroom, under flickering lights and fading sun, justice didn't roar, it whispered, and the whole world leaned in to listen. So the next time someone tells you respect is dead, show them this story. Because Judge Caprio proved that even in our most divided times, one act of moral clarity can echo across millions. If this moved you, if it reminded you of your abuela's quiet strength, your teacher's patience, your own responsibility to lead with dignity, then don't just watch, act. Subscribe, because stories like this matter more than ever. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. A teen, a parent, maybe even yourself on a hard day. And in the comments, tell us, when did someone's quiet act of respect change your life? Because the courtroom isn't just in Providence. It's in every choice we make, to speak kindly, to listen deeply, to honor those who built the world we inherited. Judge Caprio didn't just give a boy what he deserved. He gave America back its conscience, and now it's our turn to protect it.